Construction on St. Joseph's current City Hall building began in 1926 and was completed in 1927. On July 7th of that year, city officers and employees gathered at the old City Hall in Market Square to take one last look.
That would have been between 3rd and 2nd Street and between Felix and Edmond. And it was a 3-story building with the first story being a market square, and then the upper stories were offices with no air conditioning.
More than 3,000 people attended festivities at the new city government location. Mayor Louis Stegall gave an opening address.
It was originally filled the entire block between Jules and Farron. What is now Civic Center Park was full of homes at the time.
And you have to remember that Jules Street did not go up and around what we call the front of City Hall. Jules Street went across the south side of City Hall. And that was determined with Frederick Avenue coming down and all. That was the eastern edge of the main business district, but Frederick was also a business district going all the way out to at least 22nd Street.
And it's actually the south side of the building that's actually the front of the facility, even though the more common entrance is now on the north side.
While City Hall was in its construction phase a year earlier, a cornerstone was placed. Inside that cornerstone, a copper box containing several newspapers from the same day, a mayor's message from 1925, a detailed financial report on the St. Joseph School District, a report from the St. Joseph Grain Exchange, and more. There's a message for the mayor attached to a corncob pipe when it would be opened 100 years later, which reads, "Honorable Mayor, have a smoke on me, Joel F. Gates, March 27, 1926, Peace Pipe." The building was designed by architect E.J. Eckel, who was responsible for designing many buildings in downtown St. Joseph.
Other than the St. Louis City Hall, maybe E.J. Eckel's biggest and best project in St. Joe, I would guess. But that, along with all of the others, is kind of a stylized pulling pieces from other styles and kind of collecting them all on one building. The red tile roof is, well, that's almost a carbon copy of the Boston Public Library, in fact. I don't know if you know what that building looks like, but you can flip through history books and you'll come across the Boston Public Library and you go, oh, that's St. Joe City Hall.
The building has 4 floors, including a basement.
It does. It has a full basement and 3 large floors. The 4th floor is smaller in size, and only one of the set of stairs reaches the 4th floor. When you first enter from the south lobby, you get a nice visual of the marble columns in the entrance foyer area. The original building as it was laid out was at a time when there was a Board of Public Parks, a Board of Public Works, and a Board of Public Finance. And they were located in different parts of the building. Each one of those areas had their own finance departments, had their own record keeping. Layout of this room has not changed much over the entire time. The greatest changes were in the 60s and 70s when environmental controls and the cost of utilities were a concern, and its repair was not very well kept. There was one point in time when there was a suspended ceiling in this room, actually. Yeah, so the beautiful architecture of the roof and some of the painting was not visible. Then in the 80s, I believe, all that was removed and a significant investment made throughout the building to bring back the beautiful painting associated with the building. That's when the downstairs foyer was redone, as well as this room, and some refurbishments were also made to the mayor's office.
The mayor's office has a unique wood design which sets it aside from the rest of the building.
This building was built with 2 elevator shafts, but for the majority of its life it only had one operating elevator. It was the type of elevator that had to be operated by hand, so we actually had a staff member who did nothing but operate the elevator, because he had to hand crank to put it in position, whether you were going up, down, or otherwise. In fact, the lady that operated it for a number of years still has a plaque on the wall commemorating her years of service operating that elevator. When you first enter, on the first floor are the offices for the planning department and in its various divisions, permitting for building inspections, as well as community developed block grants and that sort of thing. Historic preservation planners in the first floor as well. As you move to the second floor, there's essentially 2 wings: the finance department on one end and the public works department on the other. The Public Works Department is still in the same part of the building that the Board of Public Works always occupied ever since this building opened in 1927. You move to the third floor, then is the council chambers, city clerk's office, and the city manager's office, and the legal department. Fourth floor then is the human resources department. Yeah, when this building opened in 1927, what is now Civic Center Park was still full of homes. In fact, Jewel Street went across the south side of the building. It was at some date later that Jewel Street was vacated and those buildings were razed and created what is now Civic Center Park, and adjacent to it, Smith Park, directly across Francis Street. Yes, there's a series of events that happen across the summertime, predominantly during good weather. Trails West being the most prominent of those. It's been held every August since 1993, and recently celebrated an anniversary event. The other events throughout the year are various arts events and car events and others as well. There's a series of monuments out there in the facility, in the park as well. Various war memorials. There's also a very prominent memorial to fallen public safety officers and those associated with the police department and sheriff's department as well.
Back in the 1980s, a change came into play from city officials on who would handle the day-to-day duties of running the city.
The form of government that we have now is a council-manager form of government that came into being in 1982. The only changes to that since 1982 was a 1989 vote in which we created the current layout of at-large districts and 5 districts across the city.
There are many challenges facing city government in the years ahead.
Although construction of City Hall was a very large civic public infrastructure project, actually the largest public infrastructure project the city has ever undergone in its history is ongoing now. Because we're a very old community, we have a combined sewer system, one in which both stormwater and sanitary sewers flows are combined in the same conduits. That was very common in the 1800s. At that time, the solution to pollution was dilution. You just put it together, use the same conduit system to flush it out to the river. So with a combined sewer system, although that was efficient in the technology of the day in the 1800s, obviously that's not the case now. And after the passage of the Clean Water Act in 1972, the EPA embarked upon a very aggressive approach nationwide to deal with sanitary sewer flows.
The City of St. Joseph controls many other external departments, which include the St. Joseph Police Department with its current headquarters in the Law Enforcement Center at 501 Farron Street. The city staffs 9 fire stations throughout St. Joseph and employs more than 130 in 5 divisions. The city's health department, located at 904 South 10th Street, offers health services and information which are available to everyone in the community. The city's Parks and Recreation Department oversees a wide spectrum of sporting facilities, the Remington Nature Center, Hyde and Krug Parks, the St. Joseph Parkway System, and other parks and facilities.